think it's working on Facebook. People probably watching this like, what the fuck are they doing? It is working on Facebook.
Hi, Facebook. Do people watch us on Facebook?
Yeah, sometimes.
I never check it. Hi, Facebook. What the fuck?
Oh, now we're streaming on YouTube.
Yeah, I'm not.
So now it's working. Oh, sorry.
Okay, but wait.
All right.
I need your help though.
Oh, never mind. We're live though, just so you know.
Okay, then go carry on. Let's start over.
Welcome back to the We Was Watching podcast. Those of you who've been watching us fuck up, I apologize. But we are back live on YouTube. Something was acting funny with the stream, technology.
Yeah, it happened.
I'm your host, Brandon.
I'm your other host, Chanel.
And we're back for the fourth time to review Silo Season 2, Episode 9, the penultimate episode of Silo. To me, one of the best episodes of the series and definitely the best one of the season. But before we get into that, those of you listening to Apple Podcasts or Spotify, leave us a 5-star review. We'll read it on the show. We appreciate that a lot. You can also watch us on YouTube at youtube.com/@WeWasWatching. We're streaming live on YouTube right now when it works. So go there and watch us on YouTube. You can also follow us. You can also email the show at, didn't you make the new email? Did you make the new email? What is it?
It's WeWasWatching@gmail.com. Let me double check.
With no confidence.
Well, because I was gonna say, wait, I think I sent it to you. It's either We Was. Hold on.
This is bad.
We Was Watching Podcast at gmail.com. We Was Watching Podcast at
gmail.com. So please email us there going forward, because we're going to be covering different shows now. We want to make sure we don't get siloed into one show. And you can also follow us on Twitter and Blue Sky at We Was Watching Pod. Is it We Was Watching Pod?
You can follow us at We Was Watching.
This is bad. We're amateurs.
The only thing that has the word podcast in it is the email. Everything else is We Was Watching. Instagram, We Was Watching. Blue Sky, We Was Watching. Twitter.
I feel like we should have been like, isn't it like, what do you call it? Uniformity? Should have had some uniformity.
Yeah, but like the email doesn't. It's fine. I don't. The email's fine. I think we're fine. I think. We Was Watching podcast is okay for the email, and then everything else is We Was Watching.
All right. After I fucked up the whole intro today, like I haven't been doing this for years, I apologize. But we didn't get any new emails, and I don't think we got any reviews this week. So
no. Happy holidays, guys. We're coming up.
We did get a early chat. Hell yeah, finally caught a live one. Thank you for your persistence and for creating a YouTube
And look
event.
at the live that you caught. Look at this.
Yeah, you caught the worst one we've ever done. Oh my gosh, I feel now I'm embarrassed. Like people just saw that nonsense. But yeah, no, we're usually better than that. But no, yeah, we have this week is a busy week for us. Because we have this episode of Silo. Chanel and I are also going to put out a recap of season 1 of Severance ahead of Severance's return this week. And then we have the final episode of Silo and the first episode of Severance next week, or at the end of this week.
Yes.
To look at.
Yeah.
So busy TV week for us, but very exciting. Yeah. No, I don't know if you saw this. But Severance season 2 has been getting fantastic reviews.
Yeah. You've been telling me. Yep. You made sure I know. I appreciate it.
So right now, Rotten Tomatoes,
like 100%, right?
Well, it's dropped a little bit. Right now, it's at 94% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is still very high.
Not bad.
And that's very, very exciting for us to get back into one of our favorite shows. And definitely, there's a thing with TV for me when I'm looking at TV. I want TV to either make me feel something, make me think about something, or make me try to figure out something. Like those are the three things when I'm really into a TV show. And Severance did all three. And it's not a lot of shows that kind of do all three, which was very interesting. And I still don't know a lot. I mean, I still don't think I know everything what the hell's going on there. So
I don't even know if they know. They might not know.
I don't know if they know. Now, I knew Severance was going to be great because you don't know this about me, you know. You're probably going to laugh. But my favorite movie of all time, is Meet the Parents by Ben Stiller. My favorite movie ever.
Really?
Yes.
How do you feel about the sequel and the threequel?
The sequel, I love. The threequel, it was enough. They didn't need to go to the threequel. Sequel, though, I love the sequel.
Meet the Fockers is just...
But Meet the Parents is my favorite movie.
They really were just like, yeah, we're just going to go for it. Okay.
Meet the Parents is my favorite movie ever. And so when I saw Ben Stiller doing this, I thought this was going to be some type of comedy. And I guess it's a dark comedy in a way.
But like, imagine thinking that's what you're getting and then you turn this on.
Yeah, that's what happened. Because I didn't watch any trailers or anything before it. I just saw Ben Stiller. I was like, oh, I'm checking it out. I love Ben Stiller. Because, you know, my second favorite movie is Tropic Thunder. So there's that.
Mm-hmm. I could see that because you support blackface.
That's right. The best blackface in the history of the world is Tropic Thunder. And if you ever meet a black person, white people, I'll give you a pass on this one. If you ever meet a black person trying to gaslight you for liking Tropic Thunder, they're trolling you, okay? Because
oh no, that I thought was like you told me that was your least favorite. You told me that like you just generally like blackface. I remember you saying that. That's what I was.
Well, you don't have to tell everybody what I tell you in confidence, but that's part of the reason why I love the movie so much. But no, Severance is super, it's got a super review, so I'm super excited about that. And I'm really excited about what's going to happen at the end of Silo. So Chanel, what did you think about episode 9 of season 2?
I thought you were going to ask me what's going to happen in the Silo. I was going to be like, well, if you want to know, I'll tell you.
I'm sure you would.
Episode 9, I thought it was they're going for the drama. Like they're not taking their foot off our necks in terms of like the climax at the very end of this season. I thought that it was great. I thought it gave me I told you like there's so many things where I was like, what the fuck this is different than the book. This isn't what I'm expecting. And so it started to like give me some more clarity, which was nice. But yeah, and then also there's still some new shit. So it was good.
I thought this was a fantastic episode because it had so many callbacks to stuff that happened this season and the first season. It basically took the first 18 episodes of the show and said, hey, remember when I told y'all this? Remember when I showed you this? Remember when this character said that? Remember when that character said this? Well, all that shit mattered, right? And so
yes, we did get a lot of it, yeah.
We got a lot of stuff mattering, which tells me that obviously this was written based on a book, so they obviously had some guidelines, but they had a plan in this show to build up to this moment. And so for me, someone who didn't go ahead and read the book to find out what happened beforehand, like my co-host, I was completely shocked. Well, not completely, because I kind of had an idea of some of the things that was happening, but those were just theories. So I didn't have any confirmation on any of that. And so to get the confirmation was, well, I wouldn't even say it's confirmation because I still don't know exactly what's happening, but I do have some theories about that, which we'll get into. So Chanel, do you want to start? Because for once, there was a lot of shit that happened in Silo 17 to this episode. So do you want to start?
Let's start with 18 this time.
Okay, let's start with 18. So they started in the vault and Lucas... This was so funny to me. Lucas is like, Bernard, I figured this shit out. I got it. You ain't gonna believe this shit, my nigga. You are not gonna believe this. There are 50 silos. We ain't the only. They made us think we the only ones left on this earth. There's 50 of these motherfuckers. And Bernard was like, actually it's 51.
He said everybody knows that. He said literally everybody knows that.
But he said, actually, it's 51, which I was laughing. And then I was like, hold on, did he say 51? Which we kind of I have some theories about what that 51st silo is as we move forward. But he was like, nigga, everyone in IT knows this. What are you talking about? We all know. Like, we all know this. Tell me something I don't know. And so then he asked, Lucas was like, so did Jules make it to another one of these silos? He was like, yeah, she made it as far as I could tell. But then the camera went out. And so he was like, oh, so she's still alive. because he's still trying to get them cheeks, right? You know that, right? He still want them jewels
basically.
cheeks.
I mean, he's also like not indoctrinated yet, where he still like cares about Juliet. Like he's like, what, everybody in the silo is like, bro, we send somebody out to clean and they didn't clean. Like I think everyone rightfully would be obsessed with that. Like what the fuck happened?
And he said, so she could be alive? He was like, unlikely. That silo's been out of commission for a number of years. But he said, listen, that ain't what Salvador Quinn wanted to hide. We all know that shit. Find out what the fuck he really trying to hide. And so then we see Lucas a little bit later still deciphering the code, and we see his notes, and it says the founders didn't build a single silo. They built 50, and they created the safeguard, right? So that's what we saw originally in the early parts of the show. So then we cut to Billings' crib, his hostel down in the down deep, and him and his wife are still just like tripping off of that picture. And Billings said, there's something inside of me. He's like, I should have let that shit go. I know it's bad. There was just something inside of me that told me I had to keep it. And his wife, Kathleen, was like, why is it illegal for us to have this shit? Matter of fact,
yeah,
I don't give a fuck if it's illegal. We should know about our past. They should not be banning books in the silo. Okay? No book bans.
It's funny because I did think about you and how you were like, can you imagine knowing, like, this is why there was a revolt every 20 years, is because like that knowledge is dangerous. But it is interesting seeing it I see it get planted all over again with like 10 generations later, and they're like, wait a minute, and the shit's about to start all over.
So then she was like, then Billings was in the cafe, and this motherfucker was pouring his heart out to the down deep, man. He was like, listen, I used to think that I got a promotion because I did a great job in judicial. I worked hard. I went to school. I got my degree. I did everything right, and I just earned that promotion.
He said, I didn't do any drugs. I dared to say no. He's like, I literally, like, I volunteered on Saturdays.
But then I realized they thought I was a fucking mark. They picked me because I was a mark. They wanted me because I'm a patsy and I don't question anything. But guess what? I got some goddamn questions, and I'm not leaving till I get answers. That's what he said. And he says, it was Jules. She opened my eyes. That a possible white woman showed me that there's some shit happening and the lies got to stop. And Shirley was like, so what you finna do then? How you gonna help us? That speech was nice, but what that mean to me? And then Hank was like, you think any of the other deputies will help? And Shirley was like, of course they're not gonna fucking help. Because this dumb motherfucker went on the radio to tell Bernard that he's not gonna arrest us. Stupid.
Yeah, but Shirley's getting on my nerves at this point for two reasons. One is like, Shirley's the main one to be like, let's fuck it all up. Let's tell them how we feel. Let's go up there and speak. Like, if it was Shirley with the radio, she would have did the whole thing, and she would have said Bernard's social security number out loud for everybody to have it. Like, Shirley wouldn't give a fuck if it was her in that position. That was the one thing that like, I understand what she was doing. Like, she's skeptical, but I also was like, girl. But the second thing she did, I don't know if you noticed this, is the more I looked at her face, the more I realized she looks like a Peanuts character.
What?
She looks like somebody who would hang out with Charlie Brown.
Human Help said the plot revolutions were absolutely crazy. Lucas Kyle's my new favorite character. He's not there for me yet, but I like him. Yeah. I like him. He's interesting.
But hey, good to see you.
So then Shirley says, all right, my bad. Maybe I'm a little too anxious. I'm sorry. I'm just, it feel like nobody's here to help us. We feel like we're on our own, and I'm lashing out. I apologize. And then Knox was like, listen, there's one person who can help us. And Billings was like, who? The woman who helped us get us down here? And she was like, who the fuck is that? Camille Sims. And so then they cut to okay.
We know our girl's gonna come back. Like they didn't write her into this story for nothing. So yeah, like she's gonna since she wasn't in this episode, like she must be a part of like the final story.
She was in this episode. At the end, you'll see.
Okay.
So then Kennedy and Kathleen were talking. She's still helping him get back to health after his surgery. And he was like, you got no idea the shit they're not telling us. She was like, I'm all ears, motherfucker. I want to know now. Tell me. He was like, were you by the computer when Jules got caught? No. Good. Because you'd have been injudicial with a bag over your head. And she was like, do you remember when Rashida Jones was like, I want to go outside? And he was like, what'd she say? And she was like,
you're so silly. Keep going.
That's what she said. And then she was like,
no, I mean, I forgot it was Rashida Jones. You're right.
The display is a lie. He's like, you goddamn right is a lie. And you know what I think? I don't just think it used to be like that in the picture. I think it's like that right goddamn now. And this is why they hide them fucking books. This is why they hide the books. For this exact reason. Is why they had the goddamn books.
Yeah. But that's why I told you, like, I do believe that I genuinely still to this day believe that if they had a mic system and a honest, I guess like the other silos is the part you're not supposed to know or whatever, but like they still could have worked that out to have like an honest screen and a mic to be like, hey y'all, I'm definitely dying. Nope, it's definitely poison. I'm dead. Like just people could see the person going out doing that would help them be like, it's not ready yet. So that's how I know that like there's something else that they want to stop. Again, like how we go back to how the silo is designed to be like everyone relies on each other, but also everyone can turn on the down deep whenever they're ready. Like all of that to me is like what's diabolical about it.
Back in the vault, Lucas gets more deciphering more of the encrypted messages, and then it says the message he wrote down was, if you don't believe me, go to the very bottom of the silo, find a tunnel, you will get confirmation there. And I was like, oh, that's the same shit George said way back when. Because I remember him because if you remember, George was talking to Jules. He left that video message for Jules when she got that hard drive. And he said, come back down here. And he said, oh, that thing we talked about with the water, that's not actually a problem, is what he said in that video.
With the what was it?
He said the water was not a problem that they thought it was.
The water?
Yeah, the water. I'm sorry, I don't speak white Detroit like you. I'm sorry, I don't speak white Detroit like you. Miss Auburn Hills, that's who you are. Auburn Hills Chanel. That's right. Auburn Hills Chanel.
Auburn Hills is crazy. Let's move on. He wants to fight. I started it, but he wants to fight.
So then Lucas goes to Almason to find Bernard. And he's like, hey, dog, where's Bernard? I need to talk to him. I found out some shit. He grabbed him by his shoulder. I need to know. This is for the safety of the silo. And Almason was like, how about the safety of your hand? Because if you don't move that motherfucker, it's not going to be your hand no more. And then, but Almason does this thing where he talks shit and then he tells the people what they want to know. Yeah. He takes a step forward and he was like, actually, Bernard told me he's going to be busy the whole day and to leave him be. That's all I know. And so then Lucas starts to head downstairs. So then they cut to Walker's crib and Knox goes in there. And he was like, I didn't see you at breakfast this morning. And she was like, that's because I can't leave this motherfucker. What do you call it? Agoraphobia? Is that what it's called? My agoraphobia flamed up. All right. I had an attack. It popped up. I can't step out the door. And she was like, and this time he was like, it's all right, dog. Like, relax. And she was like, it keeps getting worse because they got my wife and I want her back. And Knox was like, listen. We got another message from DJ Rated R. Yo, my good people. Hey. What up, DJ? So Knox was like, listen, we got the sheriff now. We got the ace. We don't got the big joker, but we got the ace of spades. We got the sheriff. And we're going to use that to go take back the goddamn silo. And the first thing we're going to do is free your wife. Whole time Bernard is looking. And Walker knows he's looking. So she's starting to get a little uncomfortable. And Knox says, we got a plan. And Walker, she feel guilty as shit.
Yeah, and you know, what I hate is she's not doing what I always say I would do, which is be like
yeah, but she got a camera on.
Yeah, that's why I'd be like, stand right here, shh. Like, you know, there's a way around it.
Then her computer, when Knox leaves, her computer beeps, and she got an IM from Bnard 7764, and Bnard 7764 was like, "Hey dog, what's the plan?" And Walker instead of typing back, talks to the goddamn camera, and was like, how the hell would I know?
Right.
You don't let me leave the house.
Effort. He's like, I'm not emailing you back when you listening in anyway. Like, don't annoy me. Like, don't piss me off.
And so Bnard said, "Remember, I got your wife. So you better not leave this goddamn room." So then we cut to hospice, and I was like, okay, we got a new character, and we got Lucas coming to visit his mama, and I got that scene right here because I thought this was interesting.
Lucas, what's wrong? Where have you been? Are you okay?
Nothing's wrong.
All I got was a note saying my son had been sentenced to 5 years in the mines.
Oh, they released me. Look, I can't explain all of that.
That's crazy. They didn't even tell his mama nothing. Like, hey, dog, we made your son a slave.
And then he's like, oh, I'm good now, whatever. Like, as if, first of all, you had all that time walking down them stairs or up or whatever to be like, all right, I'm going to say, Mom, don't worry. I'm just here for like, I love how he busts in. Like, I know he's trying to save the silo, but like, he's forgetting, like you said, your mom hasn't seen you in months. Like, just be prepared to say, hey, Mom, give her a hug, then say, hey, I need something real quick. Like, I hate when like actors are like, like everything's all frantic. It's so annoying to watch, but a good episode still.
Free for how long?
Not long. I couldn't get away.
To tell me you're safe.
Just, Mom, I need you to take this, hide it, somewhere no one can find it, okay?
No, I won't.
Nope. You ain't having them come send my ass to the mines. Yeah. Fuck out of here.
Yeah, what the fuck? And I don't know where you've been at.
Thought I'd lost you, and now you're putting your life at risk again? You were always this way, even as a little boy.
I don't have a choice.
There's peace in the unknown, Lucas. I wish you could find it, but you're driven to solve things, even when they can't be solved, and now it's led you here.
No, what's led me here is being a coward.
He said, Lucas, when you was a baby, you was always digging in the shit, climbing on shit, trying to put square pegs in round holes, trying to figure out how to manipulate shit. I saw from the beginning. You thought I didn't know what happened to them cookies. I know you took them cookies and tried to reverse engineer them so that you can make cookies when I'm not home. I saw that shit. You ain't tripping. You ain't fooling me, buddy.
Sheriff Nichols came to me for help. And I told her I couldn't give it to her because I was the only one taking care of my mother.
What? But you don't.
I lied.
She like, so you turned me into an invalid that you gotta take care of? Like, I'm a whole ass doctor here, son.
I lied to her mom to get out of doing the right thing. And I didn't help her. I didn't report her either. I just did nothing. I'm not gonna make that same mistake again. Okay? Yeah.
That was Lucas's superhero moment, right? That's the moment where, oh, go ahead.
Yeah, where he's like, oh, I'm going to be here. Two things. One is that if Lucas is actually in real life Indian, as assuming him to be, his mama wouldn't have been okay that quickly. Like there's a little bit of a cultural suspension of reality here because Indian moms are notoriously up there with all the other moms that are like persistent as fuck. But love this scene.
You're missing something.
And then
you're missing something here.
They're from the ups.
No, that shit don't exist no more. All that shit got erased. They just
you know what? That is such a good question. Would culture like erase complete? Like the question is, are these things in your blood? Like, are they in your DNA? Are they ancestral, or are they created? It's like if the Noah did an ark and it was You know what I mean? Like,
we know it's created.
No, I know, but like, would it be recreated if you just kept doing people all over again? Would Black people still be the best at rap? You know?
No. The people who grew up in that, rap was all that came from Black culture though. Like rap came from.
But that's what I'm saying. But would
Black people still all that stuff came from that?
But would Black people in the silo create the music if there had to be musicians? Would a person pick it up and be like, and would they have the best band in the silo without just because they're?
Now you're getting into the racism. Now you're becoming a racist.
Now I'm getting into
the Black people in the silo, the best athletes too. They got fast switch muscles.
I'm getting into ancestral excellence, which is the idea that like if you want to represent a culture of a community, it's no different than like if accents were to be able to be developed in the silos, right? Like, would they be similar? Would they be something we've never heard before? I'm just interested in like how much of these things always have to happen and how much of these things happen only because of how they happen. And also Black people are great at music. I don't think is that racist? That's cultural, right?
If you're saying it's in your DNA.
Oh, interesting. You're using that against me. Well, I'm going to think on my theory, but I still have it. I still have that theory. And also I wanted to, before we move on, because I'm seeing all the comments now, thanks to Human Help and DJ Rated R and everybody else who's currently viewing, make sure to like and subscribe. We are like not able to monetize yet, so we need those subscriber counts to go up. So share this video with a friend. And also I want to acknowledge the full moon in Cancer tonight. Human Help. I was driving earlier and the wolf moon was beautiful. That was the first comment we had on today's live. And then also DJ Radar R said Lucas's mom was not with the shit. She sure was not. And then Human Help said, yeah, love your mama, give her a little respect. Like give her a kiss and say, hello, mom. Sorry I haven't called. Quick question. Can you hold this for me? But anyway, okay, we can proceed.
It's going to be a little hard when one of the co-hosts is saying that Black people can tap dance because genetically that's built into them. I mean, we just genetically good at tap dancing. That's why they had us out there doing it.
I said
that's why they had us out there doing it.
If we're talking about the human history as it exists today, and we agree that Black people, whether it's like wherever roots you want to go back to Africa, back to the Caribbean, back to US, have created the best music in history repeatedly. Like, you know, Beethoven might have been Black, that kind of shit, right? You're telling me you don't think that at some point that's ancestral, like that's just meant to be?
Yeah, we were born to tap dance.
You keep saying tap dance, and I'm talking about being creative and pioneering. You can't
separate the creativity. You can't separate it. It's all together. So if that's in our blood, the tap dance is in our blood too.
Well, the reason why it doesn't bother me to think like this is because I think a lot about like Black Americans and how like when people talk about how like, oh, this is a side note, but we didn't do any bullshitting in the beginning, so here we are. Me and my friend were talking about like, actually my friend I used to do a podcast with, we recap Lovecraft Country if you guys ever want to go look at my old bullshit. So we were just talking about what comes first, right? Like in terms of culture, in terms of like the people that we are and what persists. And so my theory is that when you look at like Black Americans, why is cultural appropriation like fun for like if people want to like be Bad Bunny fans and go to Puerto Rico, or if people want to be like love Colombia and like talk about the culture, or Adele wants to go to Jamaica, why is that okay? Because those places still exist. Those places are not defunct. Those people still exist. That culture will exist whether those people come and like pirate it or not. But Black culture is not acknowledged, has been stolen, has been buried, and therefore that's why you can't actually appropriate Black culture and not necessarily. But then I think about like Black Americans are special because we are finite. You know what I mean? Like you can create us, but like the people we came from was a limited number. So I just think about that all the time. Like the accomplishments we've been able to do with our culture and our history and heritage being separated is crazy. So are we special in that way? And is that genetic, or is that just by chance? Like, are we?
It's not by chance. Culture is created by circumstance. And so every circumstance that your people are brought through generate that culture that persists.
And by circumstance, I mean chance too. But like, yeah. So like, is that, I guess my question is, say we had if Americans had come, if Black people had came to America voluntarily, just over time trickling in,
we
would
would have
hip
a
hop and
different
everything else
culture.
be the same?
Maybe.
That's what I'm asking. That's
Culture
the
would be
question.
differently. If America wasn't
That's the
racist,
question.
a lot of things would be different, right? It's just a lot of things are built from the culture.
So now you're thanking white people for Black culture. Interesting.
Well, that's what I do. I'm the person that defends the white person. I'm the person that defends the white person, and you're the person
I love white people,
who hate
and we've
the Black
established
people.
that. We have established that I love. Yeah, you're right. I love white people. We've established that.
Yeah, we did. The emailers even said it. They didn't say that to me. They said that about you. So they heard it. So then we get to Bernard, and he's listen. This motherfucker is bad at lying. There's no way these people believe this shit. He talking to them and he says,
he's so annoying.
We figured out their plan. Their plan was this is what he told them, to steal the gunpowder so that they can blast open the silo door and leave. And he said, not only was that far-fetched, then he said, and guess who was the mastermind behind the plan? Paul Billings.
The guy that you know the guy you guys been working with for years, who's like in and out, goes to church every Sunday, a Bible study on Wednesdays. Yeah, he got recruited by ISIS. Like,
the biggest square in the whole silo is the person who was like
kingpin. Frank Lucas was in our midst.
He's the one that's like, we finna go blast the door and take over this shit. Okay, buddy.
And they're all like, sir.
And then he said, listen, then I'm gonna need all y'all to go up to the calf, right? I got the silo corps of engineers, and we finna build a private prison, right? And so that we can keep all them motherfucking low light, down deep, dirty scoundrels captured. That's what we doing.
He did say it's time to privatize prisons. You know how we have parks and community gardens? Nope. Raise it. Get rid of all the seeds. Don't cut down all the plants. Those are jail cells now for 6th graders.
That's what he said. And
he said the math scores are low across the silo. We're jailing the kids. That's what he said.
Yes, the engineering to prison pipeline. And which
okay, sorry.
That's you know the funniest thing about the silo is like in our world, engineering's a pretty good job. It's like a pretty prestigious job, right? Like you don't just become an engineer. You got to work your way up.
Oh, it's what they want. They want all of America to be engineers, by the way. That's the plan.
Even if that was the truth, I mean, even in that case, we treat engineers as a good job, right? People like colloquially, like we see engineers as like, hey, you got a good job, sir. You're an engineer, like that type of thing. In the silo, it's like the engineers, like look at those fucking people. The fucking engineers, they build shit. Oh, they build shit. They take care of shit. Ooh, God.
Yeah, it's like I'm down here. I'm
go
the one
turn my power on, sir.
Yeah. It is funny because like in their mind too, it's like the silos always run. And I think that's what's interesting is that every worker is visible in the silo. So I do think you finally have a situation where like the people who fix the toilets are the people you say, thank you, sir. I don't want to irritate you because I need you. And like it's in our culture, those are the people who are like meant to be quiet so that people have like gentility. But yeah, I think that I love that just like there was a bunch of women in this room as he was talking that were like, this is some bullshit, but this is literally everyone's boss. So it's kind of like do you remember when Kanye first started acting a fool? And he used to it was like before he like went to, I think he went to Tesla. Like he was just going and showing up to businesses. So he showed up at Rocket Mortgage, I'm pretty sure, which is a place in Detroit. And my friend was like showing it on his story. And I was like, 2 years ago, before that, if Kanye West showed up to your job, you'd be like, I'm not working today. I'm about to go try to rap him on my way out the station like Big Sean did to get an offer. Like, I just, like, this is amazing. But at that moment, he was like, if he doesn't shut the fuck up and let me go back to work. And that is what it felt like. It was like, let's just let Kanye finish his rant because I don't actually care about what he has to say. He's getting on my nerves. And then the homegirl who used to work with, works where Camille works and where Rashida Jones used to work, I think that's her, was like, I thought you said that y'all were gonna deal with this shit, and we were gonna be business as usual. Like, did you see the movie Civil War?
Did I see Civil War?
The recent one.
I think I did see that. Yeah.
Okay. Remember how like the whole country was in disarray and ruin, and then they went to like this one random town in Virginia?
Yes,
and
yeah, I did see that.
Yeah,
yes,
it was like regular. That's what she was like. She was like, I thought we were still gonna be able to take our kids back and forth to school without any bombs dropping, and now I have to learn. I have to teach my kids how to get to a shelter in time when the bomb drops. Hell no.
Just FYI, none of this would have happened with Kanye if he actually did get one of Russell's nieces. Just wanted to let you know that.
Russell Simmons, one of the Vanessa
said,
or
when the Jesus piece can't give me peace, all I need is one of Russell's nieces. And he never got it.
He should have went for the older one. Everybody wanted to go for Angela, but she doesn't, you know what I mean? She has a specific type. She's corny. But then my favorite Kanye line ever is when he said that Prince Williams didn't do it right. If you ask me, if I was him, I would have married Kate and Ashley. And he said Prince Williams like a surname. He thinks that the royal family's last name is Williams. I've never gotten over that. Anyway, let's move on.
So then they get to the gate, and like between the up top and the down bottom, and Lucas was like, "Hey, dog, the mayor sent me. I got authorization. You see this blue pass? That means you open the door for me."
And they don't give a fuck about the authorization. That's literally like throwing you into the zoo enclosure. Like, if you want to go in there with them gorillas and see if they don't try to find a banana in your pocket, go for it. He's basically like, are you prepared for this? And he's like, yes, I need to go. So they let him go through. And then it's so funny because, again, like, they're doing all this tough guy shit, which is so funny in the silo for me. Like, whenever they start being violent, I'm always confused because I'm like, y'all are literally like you said, engineers. Like, these are the workers who are now all of a sudden tough guys. But I don't know, have we seen the guy before who's questioning him? There's some guy who pops up and he's like send them back up.
That Black Raider dropped Lucas off across the down deep like Dave Chappelle did that white family son in the hood. And when he did the race swap thing,
just scared straight. Oh yeah,
that's exactly how he dropped him off. It's like, all right then, I'll see you when you get back, buddy.
Okay, side note, this is I'll make this quick, but my first solo trip ever was in Hawaii, which tourists should not go to Hawaii. I won't go back, don't worry. But I went to Hawaii with my family and I was unemployed. And so I was like, fuck it, I'm going to stay for longer. Like, so then while we were in this nice resort in Waikiki, it was beautiful, beautiful. And so I booked the Airbnb like down the street and I was like, okay, this is great. We'll be good. My family left. I was all sad. I get in the Uber. I get dropped off in Airbnb. When I tell you I found the hood of Waikiki somehow, and that's why that Airbnb was so cheap. And when I went, it was like literally like day, and then I went around the corner and it was like hood, and I was like, what the fuck? How did I do this? And I remember going in and talking to, there was a security guard that was the oldest Chinese lady I've ever met in my life, or maybe Japanese, I should take it back. And she was like, I was like, is it safe here? She said, no, I've been mugged. And I said, okay, I found the hood somehow, and I made it out. But that was a harrowing experience.
That sounds about right for Auburn Hills Chanel. That sounds about right.
I'm gonna get encourager. Keep going.
So then he go down there, and the dude tried to question him, and he's like, "What brings you down here? We don't take kindly to your type down here." And he was like, "Look, I got somewhere to be." He was like, "That's nice. Take your ass back up there." He's like, "I'm trying to save the silo." He was like, "Oh, if he give you any more lip, toss his ass over the railing." And he was like, "I knew Juliet." And I was like, "God damn, Juliet is Jesus. Everybody knows Juliet. Like, you say you invoke her name, you can get your pass anywhere." And so he was like, "Oh, all right, then let me go get my boss."
Juliet is Jesus is true. Actually, and the third day, she rolled that stone back. She about to roll that stone back and walk right back in that silo. Watch. Okay, I don't want to go to hell, but that was a funny joke.
And so then, in the sheriff office in the down deep, they trying to figure out who the snitch is. They meaning Hank, Billings, and Knox. Pronouns, pal. And so then, sheriff was like, "Why don't you just send a message back to the up top? You think anybody will help us?" He was like, I don't even know if that message got to anybody. And as soon as he said that, somebody came walking in, was like, sir, there's someone at the door somebody at the gate trying to get you in. By the way, Trump is terrible. We all know Trump is terrible. But when he does that voice, I swear to God, I laugh every time. When he does that voice, when he's talking about one of the people who works for him coming to talk to him, and he's like, sir, I want you to do this thing. I swear I laugh every single time he says that. It's the funniest thing in the world to me.
I haven't caught that.
He does a voice of like people who work for him, and they all call him sir. And he's like, sir, I want you to do that. He's just like this voice when he's like trying to make fun of these people. And every time he does it, I can't help myself. I bust out laughing because it's so funny to me.
He's a character. He's a character. Evil villain, but a character all the same. That's what they call him.
And so Billings, he was like, should we all go there? Hank was like, should we all go there for a show of force? And he was like, no, dog, I got to do this by myself. Like, we good. And so then Knox was like, I think I figured out who the snitch is. And then they don't say who it is. They kind of cut away.
Yeah, but I mean, I think it was like but the hint was getting a. Am I freezing? Okay. The hint was getting a message through, and I think they realized. Human Help says Walker literally became a snitch to save a woman. We talked about this last episode. Yes, like she literally is like she's not gonna get back with you. It's over.
I mean, I feel like so if someone broke up with you, right? Someone broke up with you, and then 10 years later, you was captured, and this motherfucker went to the ends of the earth to save you. You wouldn't give him a second chance?
No, because I didn't get captured. I gave up. I said, leave me behind. I didn't say, let's go, run, pull me, and then you drop me, and now you got to go back. I said, you know what? I'm done. I'm tired. I'm good. Like, and then also also like at that point, if I'm a symbol of the fight, I don't want to just be back and have been traded for like the whole liberation movement. You know what I mean? Like, that's the thing. Also, I think, like I said in the books, Walker's a man, and I feel like this would make more sense. I hate to say it if this character was a man, because it just doesn't. It felt like a departure for me, but like the idea of like a huge grand gesture at the very end does track for me in how they write men characters. Yes. But sorry, the last thing I think I was about to say something before, but I lost it. Wow, that really happens to me.
That's all right. It'll come back to you. So they got to Sims and Billings, and Sims is the one that's wanting to meet him, and Sims still acting tough. Common be acting tough as hell every time. You had me walk my black ass all the way down these steps, Billings. The fuck you want?
You know what would make him scarier is if he wore a business suit. I think it's just the leather jacket is just confusing me.
I mean, do they got Shaft in the silo?
That's what I'm saying. It's giving Shaft, and nobody can be Shaft. There's two people who could be Shaft, and one of them is no longer with us, and the other is Samuel L. Jackson. You know what I'm saying? Like, wait, Richard Roundtree did Richard Roundtree not die? I hope I didn't just kill Richard Roundtree.
I don't think he's still in the league. I don't think Richard Roundtree's still in the league.
The league?
Richard Roundtree left the league in 2023, last year, 2 years ago.
When you're saying the league, you mean died?
Yeah, he's not still in the league. You don't know that?
Is that how you're saying people would die?
Yeah, they're not in the league.
Oh, okay, good. Well, I didn't want to kill him preemptively. Rest in peace, Richard Roundtree. Anyway, yeah, I think there's something about it. It's just nothing I can do about it. Like, Common is just Common. We just got to get through this together as watchers.
DJ said, I don't know how I feel about this geriatric lesbian love story with Walker.
That's what I'm saying. It's the first time I never ever agree with people who get mad about forcing diversity into stories, because I feel like it never like makes a difference and it only helps really. But this is the first time where I'm like, did they just scrabble it and be like, all right, we're gonna make them lesbians, we're gonna make one of them black, and one of them will be British in real life, and also agoraphobia. Like, You know what I mean? Like, it just seems like they kind of tried to like freak it a little bit to make it more compelling. And I feel like Knox and Shirley could have been gay, and that would have made more sense. Like, they're just different relationships that would have been a little bit more like, oh, they just happen to be gay. But anyway, yeah, I think we're all on the same page about this shit they're just kind of trying it a little bit.
So Billings was like, can we get some privacy, dog? And so Sims sends the other Raiders away. And so he was like, Sims was like, you really did go with them. So you crossed the line. And Billings said, I ain't crossed no motherfucking line. The line moved. All right. I don't step over the lines. The line walks with me. That's what it does. The line walks with me. I walk with the line. And he was like, listen, dog, I'm going to give you this thing. And Sims was like, you don't trust me, motherfucker. Why are you really giving me this shit? And he was like, well, you're right. I don't really trust you. But I was trying to get to your wife, but I had to get to you. So I called you down here. And he was like,
it's also funny. It's like, it's a photo of the Blue Ridge Mountains and they're passing it around. Like, I thought about this reference and I wondered if you would laugh. They're passing around like it's 2 girls, 1 cup. Like, they're like, hey, have you seen this?
I'm surprised you're old enough to know that. Okay, look at you. Look at that shit now.
Oh, you're proud. They're passing it around like it's that tape from The Ring. That's what they're doing.
No, they're passing. I make a lot of Chappelle Show references. They're passing it around like Black Bush when he had the cake, and he was like, "Don't drop that shit. Don't open that shit up right here. Don't drop that shit." Because Billings was like, he handed it to him. He was like, don't open that shit up right. Like, oh, it's dangerous. Don't open that shit up right here. And Common was like, well, it's a piece of paper. The fuck wrong with you? I'm opening this shit up right here.
No, Big Brother's always watching. And that's what I'm saying. You're telling me, how is he not the most paranoid man in the world? How is he not like, no, they're watching. I know they're watching. They can see. Like, he still thinks he's untouchable, even though he's been demoted and threatened and all that. And I don't know, whatever. That's on him.
She said, DJ said, he also has a weird accent, which he's like morphing his accent, how he really talks in real life, but it's so weird. That's true. He is doing his like woke rapper voice, but just in normal speech, right? And he's just like in his normal speech pattern.
There's this housewife on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills that's like an American white woman who like spent some time overseas, and so her accent is like randomly Irish, and she acts like she's British, and people are all, and then it goes away. That's so Common is acting like Dorit would in this. If you guys know who Dorit Kemsley is, no, so there's like 7 people would get that, and I just want them to know that I do this for you.
We like black stuff. And so he leaves, and then they go way down deep, and Shirley takes Lucas down there to George's old crib. He's like, "Yo, this where you know Juliet, who you was trying to hit. This where her boyfriend lived. They probably fucked right over there on that bed. How that make you feel, Lucas? That's basically what she did. That's what she did." And he said,
"How that make you feel? It's crazy."
And Lucas was like, "You know what? You was right. I ain't really know Jules like that. I did try to kiss her though." And Shirley's like, "Oh, how'd that go?" I'm surprised. You all right? Have you tried to kiss anybody since? Because I know that didn't go well. And he was like, "I wish I could have done more to help her." Shirley was like, "Yeah, all of us do." And she was like, "Look, the only thing down there is water. So I don't know what you think you finna find." And Lucas was like, I don't think it's that deep. He was like, as long as it's been here, that shit should be higher than what it is. And she was like, so you trying to say they got pumps down there that we don't know about? He was like, that's exactly what I'm saying. And she was like, you willing to bet your life on that? He was like, might as well. I ain't got shit else to do.
I'm here. He's like, they gonna whoop my ass if I go back in the hallway anyway. So yeah.
So then Walker the Grouch wakes up to somebody knocking on her door, and Knox walks in, and Knox was like, I figured out who the goddamn traitor is. And Walker sits down looking guilty as fuck. And Knox was like, it's Teddy's mom. And Bernard looks relieved as fuck. He was like, I saw her yesterday. I think he's just afraid. She's just afraid that Teddy's going to be killed. And we can't punish anyone for protecting their son. and he was talking in code. I don't know if Walker figured that shit out. I think she did, but he was clearly talking in code. He knew it was her, and he was saying, "We get it."
Oh,
You didn't
okay.
get that?
I thought he was trying to trick her. I didn't realize he was trying to tell her, "Hey, we're trying to save you." I thought he was like,
Yeah.
"Man, fuck her. I'm about to set her up."
I took it as he was saying he's only trying to protect this person that he loves. And he was using that as an allegory for her and McLean. And he was trying to say that to her. Because he wasn't looking at the camera. If you look from Bernard's view, his back was to the camera. And so he was talking right to her, saying that shit. So I thought...
I knew it was something. I just didn't realize he was on her side. Facts. Okay, that makes sense.
So then he said, by the way, we got a plan. We got all this gunpowder, right? And then they cut away. And so then they cut to the tunnel.
Which, as a reminder, they didn't break in for no damn gunpowder. They broke in for medicine and supplies. If I remember, like, that was the main thing. I loved it. Like, that's how I knew he was playing into it. Because obviously, like, now they're just going to feed the information in. And I remember what I was going to say before, which was that they realized it because they thought about like messages getting through when there's no communication. And it's like, well, who the fuck had a chance to communicate with up top? And it was only Walker. So I think they were just like, duh, like who the fuck just got back from out of town?
So they go to the tunnel and Lucas tells Shirley, he was like, you supposed to tell me what happened to Jules. And he was like, oh yeah. So she left the silo, right? Check this out. She left the silo, right? She walked over the hill. She got all the way to the top of the hill. She took a look back. She ain't clean. And shows, bitch, I know that. What the fuck happened from what I couldn't see? Oh, all right.
He's like, okay, but she
bad.
like, it was nice outside. She looked around left and right. There are people dead. And she's like, catch up to where we're at.
She went over the hill. And then her video went out. But when her video went out, she's still alive. I was like, you ain't tell her it was another silo or none of that shit. You just told her,
yeah,
her video still
smart because he's still not smart, but like he's suspicious because he does at this point know more than anybody else. Like he is close, like he's closer to Bernard than Sims ever was. So I do understand him not, because like him telling one person, especially somebody serious who's like a part of the revolution down in the down deep, that everyone in the silo would know by tomorrow. There'll be another rocket with messages up. Yeah.
If you told them it was another silo, they'd be like, yo, I'm trying to go see my dogs. Like, let's go see the other silos, bro. I'm trying to see what that's about. And so he was like, do you think she's still alive? And he was like, I hope so. But I don't know. If I knew, I'd tell you. And then they have a quick cut to Camille and Sims. This is where we did see Camille. And they stared at that goddamn picture just like Billings and his wife. Like,
well, I get it though, because everybody is like, what the fuck? What is this?
And he's like, Camille's like, it's time to pick a side, dog. And she was like, Robert was like, you think they're gonna win? And she was like, if they win, they're gonna need somebody to run the silo, and they could be you. And Robert was like, I done thrown too many of them motherfuckers over the railing. They ain't gonna pick me. But you? And Camille was like, all right, I'll do it. And Robert agreed. He was like, but I can help you with this one thing. This was really good information. Every time some fuck shit happens, Bernard got this key with number 18. That shit light up like a bitch, and he go run into the goddamn server room. And I was like, yeah, we already know that.
His ass.
We already know that, right? But this was the interesting part. Then he said, when the mayor, the old mayor, named Juliet sheriff, that shit lit up. He went to the server room. When he came back out, he told me that he had to be mayor. And I was like, so someone is talking to this motherfucker, right? Someone's telling him what he has to do in monitoring this shit. And she was like, what's in the server room? And he was like, I don't know. But the only person who can get up in there is the person who got that key. And the person who got that key is the head of IT. So I think Robert gonna try to steal that key from Bernard, which should be easy. All he gotta do is ask Bernard to come to his office and whip his ass. You're supposed to be Shaft. Bernard stuff put in your office, you're supposed to whip his ass. And so then they cut back down to the down deep. Lucas falls in the water. Then he stands up and you realize the water only like 3 feet deep. And he walks around and they got the ominous music. And he gets to this part where it's a gate. And then I got this sound right here.
Lucas Kyle, why are you here?
I was given instructions.
By whom?
Salvador Quinn.
Before you, only 3 people have reached this door. Salvador Quinn, Mary Meadows, and George Wilkins. I did not speak with Wilkins. Quinn and Meadows were both given the same directive you will now receive. If you speak to anyone about this conversation, or what you have seen down here, we will have no choice but to initiate the safeguard. Do you know what the safeguard is, Mr. Kyle?
I do.
This is some of my favorite shit in all of television. When shows do stuff like this, by the way, this voice is called the algorithm, right? The algorithm. So when shows do shit like this, where it's just a disembodied voice telling you some deep shit with like encrypted, like cryptic, like words and like, do you know what this means? And then it goes off. I always be like, yes, I want to know. My favorite one of all time, and this is how you know I'm a nerd, is Star Trek The Next Generation, where Captain Picard gets overtaken by the Borg, and you think he's about to go off, and they go off the season where he's telling them motherfuckers they're going to comply. And that shit goes off. You got to wait a whole nother year to see what the fuck Captain Picard's about to do. I love that shit so much. I love when shows do that. My favorite shit in the world.
Oh, I hate it.
I know. You can't help yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot help yourself. You got to go in and reading and finding out the shit.
Well, the good news is, again, there's nothing I can do here. I simply have to wait because there's no there's no equivalent to this in the book. So I don't actually know what's happening. And also in general, it's I've talked about this before when I realized how many differences there were. Like, I think it'll probably all end up being the same, but this is a very interesting way to tell the story that you would not be able to guess from here because there's no comparison to it. Anyway, go
That's
ahead,
right.
read the comment.
Resistance is futile. That's right. Chanel don't know nothing about the board, right? She don't know nothing about Captain Jean-Luc Picard. That's before her time.
I know about him.
And too nerdy for her. You know, it's too nerdy
do you watch the new one with Sonequa?
Yeah, it's off now. But yeah. Sonequa Martin Green.
I just want to make sure.
Star Trek Discovery.
Yeah.
That's right.
Okay, cool. Just making sure that you aren't one of those people who's like, oh, it's sci-fi, there's no black people.
No, I actually like black people. I'm not MAGA.
If you've never listened to this podcast, we do genuinely talk about race and politics a lot, but it's also funny because a couple episodes ago somebody accused me of I've been accused of different things, and so it just keeps coming up, and it's for you to decide where you think I really fall. Don Bowley says algorithm is really running the show. I guess AI really did win. It's funny because a friend was looking up something and I was like, why don't you put that in the chat GPT? And she was like, oh, do we care about the environment? And I was like, that's an interesting question. AI is such a strain on the environment and it's terrible for sustainability, but it seems like everything is running on AI and it's inevitable. They just need to figure out how to make it better for us. But yeah, AI here knows everything, is able to first of all, let's just go back to he walked through a tunnel and AI knew who he was. Then
Lucas
for
Kyle.
whatever reason was oh yeah, and I talked to your friends, by the way. I just want to let you know they was here. The judge was here, she was here, she came through. But then George, he didn't even say hi to me, so fuck him. But you're the only one, you're the newest one, so hey, what's up? Just want to let you know. Also, what are you about to tell me what I'm pretty sure the protocol or whatever they're calling it is the what do they call it? The action they have to take.
The safeguard.
The safeguard. I feel like it's them dying. It's either them dying or the whole silo getting taken down. It's something like that, right? It has to be one of the main consequences we've seen happen already. But I think what's interesting about it is it goes back to George being killed and them trying to say he died by suicide, but people knowing it was not right. And so it's like that might be related to like how,
But he
these
actually
different
did
deaths.
die of suicide.
But that's what I'm saying. What if that's the safeguard?
Oh, what if it's fake? What if it's an AI video?
I don't know what I'm saying. I'm just saying, what if it's a safeguard? And then secondly, it's also just
But no,
interesting
George
that...
don't know shit about the safeguard because the algorithm said he ain't talked to George. He said George brought his dumb ass down here. We just looked at him.
Oh, so he didn't get past it. But I guess I still think that I still think that George was killed, by the way, to be clear. Like, I don't think there's nothing in me that thinks he died. It doesn't even make sense.
We saw the video.
Like, that doesn't... the one that he recorded to Jules saying he died that way?
No, the video of him unaliving himself, where he went over to the edge. Jumped, right? He jumped over he got on the edge and he jumped. He said he blew a kiss to Jules, or he said something like that, and then he jumped over.
Please update the comments if you're able to pull up the last couple ones. DJ Rated R says I found it interesting that Bernard had never been there. Right, DJ Rated R. He's just trying to keep the lights on. He's not trying to explore.
Old ass can't climb down there.
That's also true. He has not seen it down deep since probably ever. He maybe has never been down there.
He also never saw the hard drive.
Yeah. Okay. So Fisher Protocol asks, "What if the safeguard is 2 girls, 1 cup?" That is an interesting. That's a sound theory. That theory has legs. And then John Domboli says, kind of a religious metaphor. Moses walks up the mountain and gets a message from God. Lucas walked in a tunnel and God was revealed, the sci-fi version. I do like the idea of like that. Like, I agree with you. It's like you're going to get, there's all these allegories, you're right, about like knowledge and like knowledge being dangerous. Going back to how you were saying engineers are like not revered here. I also think of engineers as like the heretics, like the people who get closest to figuring out what's happening are the ones who get vilified and killed. But like Juliet got so far that like you said, now she's a Jesus figure. And the reason why I like the idea of like this tunnel being God is because God is a woman. And so the tunnel is like a yonic symbol.
My favorite sci-fi show of all time is The Expanse. And The Expanse does some stuff like this with the proto-molecule, where you're trying to figure out like what the hell they're up to, like what's their purpose, what are they doing, type of a thing. And so it really has me interested to see like what is this algorithm up to. So hopefully we get some answers next episode. So
well, that's a question for you before we go. What do you think is the purpose of life?
You really asking me that question?
Just like high level.
To enjoy it. That's what I think.
I think so too. I think it's an experience. But one more quick question. Do you believe we get reincarnated in any way?
No, I don't.
I'm not sure yet. All right. Well, anyway, we've covered a lot.
I'm not entirely sure though, because I do believe in alternate universes.
Do you believe in multiverse currently right now?
Yes, I believe in multiverse.
I do too, but I'm not sure.
There is some science behind the multiverse, by the way.
Time is not real.
Beltawada. Oh yeah, Beltawada. You never watched The Expanse? So the Belters, right? The Belters are out there. So The Expanse is like the most realistic sci-fi ever, right? So it's like if it were real and they haven't gone past our solar system, right? So the furthest they're out is like the asteroid belt. But there's like people who live on Mars and they're trying to colonize it and what do you call it? Terraform it. But it takes forever to do that. And then there's people who live in the belt and they treat the belt like shit. Like they treat the Belters like shit. And the Belters are all super tall, thin people with these accents. And they talk differently than the inners. And they treat them like shit. And then the Belters are relying upon water to come from Earth. It's a whole thing. This Expanse is great. If you haven't seen The Expanse, you love it. So let's go to Silo 17. There's a flashback.
Brandon, I thought we were done. I forgot about Silo 17.
Yeah, Silo 17.
Okay, before you do that, pull up the last 2 comments for me. I feel like I'm ahead of the chat. Thank you, John Domboli says, one good purpose is to be a good person and bring happiness to others to the best of your abilities. I love that. You guys are good people. And then Human Help says, y'all curry sometimes. Very true. Very true. Okay, let's go to Silo 17.
There's a special setup there. Like they got a nice little setup. Audrey and Rick No, this is name.
Yeah, like
yeah,
so
right. And
it's
the
like
kids.
it's like a camp in the where like there's food around or like gardens. Like they're on a level that we don't really see a lot of. Like I think we've seen Juliet go in and like we assume they go and feed themselves, but they don't. Well, they actually, she might not have ever even gone down there because there's food in the vault. And then also like I'm sure the water system and all the like stuff isn't happening anymore. It probably smells like a lot of decay down there. So that actually would be a decent place to hide if you were hiding from people in general, because the smell of like all that rotting stuff would keep people away. So they're like tucked in to this place, and we don't know it's Silo 17 yet unless you recognize the kids from last episode. But it's like a shanty town where like there's hammocks and there's a baby, like you said, and they're all just like, literally it's like they're living on the side of a river, but it's in the Silo 17.
Audrey is practicing shooting arrows like she's Aloy in Horizon Zero Dawn.
Let me tell you something. That bitch was getting on my nerves this episode until the very end. I was like, does she think she's Katniss? Because she literally kept being like, I have my arrows and we have to protect everyone. We have to kill everyone. I'm like, girl, this is like, relax.
And then we see Eater, and she sends a signal, and this is when Jules came in. So we see Jules coming in from their perspective, taking all her shit off, and Audrey's like, we gotta go kill this person.
Who is that? Yeah.
And they're like, bro, we didn't even talk to her yet. Like, we don't know.
They're like, she goes, what does she want? She has to die. And they're like, we could literally ask her. And she's like, shut the fuck up, Eater. Nobody asked you for nothing. And that's why I'm tired of feeding your dumb ass, because you always got something to say. And Eater's just like, okay, sorry.
They go back, and she was like, what we need to do is get our weapons ready. So they show Rick making like bulletproof vests, and she's carving up some arrows, and they got Eater making a Negan bat, and Audrey was like, then we see when
right,
Jules
which I was like, what are we about to do? They wrapped a bat with nails and chain, and I said, there is 2 people in here with y'all. What is going on? They are going militia.
And they show Jules trying to swing the IT, and they show that Audrey was the one that cut her rope. And she was drowning, but the only reason she didn't drown is because Rick threw her the little bin that she could grab onto that she could float across. And Audrey was like, what the fuck wrong with you?
Remember? Okay. I didn't notice. I guess if you go back to the scene and notice the first time Juliet comes up, there's no bin. And then the second time, there's like the bin's very closely situated. I remember being like, oh, that's great. That's convenient. But I did not. And remember, I did tell you somebody's in that motherfucking like silo with them, because that cut on the rope was so clean. And so I just wanted to point that out. Like we've always had this theory there's somebody else in the silo, but keep going.
And so Rick was like, she was about to die. And Audrey was like, that was the point, motherfucker. I wanted her to die. And so I was like, you are a mean person. Jeez.
Like literally, it's on site. You want everybody to die. You literally don't even want to go, hey, does anyone know what year it is? Who's the president? Like what? Like you don't want to know how's outside. You just want to kill everybody you encounter.
Can you help us get some food? So then Rick and Audrey are awakened by Solo's music. And they're like, what the fuck is this noise? And they watched Jules like do some shit, but this was the scene when Solo agreed to help her when he came out, and they were like, that's the killer. And I was like, oh, they call Solo the killer. Okay.
That's crazy. Because we do remember, like, speaking of, so Brandon said this in the beginning of the episode, and I think like all these things come around because the things that are relevant are there are random dead bodies in the front that were not dead out on the outside, so like they didn't get gassed or whatever is happening outside, I think. And then they whatever poison, they didn't die from that, not gas. That's the wrong word. And then she was like, these bodies are fresh, and we kind of were like, did he kill them? Did he poison them? Like we weren't sure what happened there. Like we said, we figured out about how she got like that buoy basically to save her life, and then who cut the rope. And then the thing we never got, so we had kept asking the whole time, like, who the fuck is Russell? What's going on here? So we get more of that later. But like Brandon said, these things from the very first episode, the opening of season 2, they tell us this story about Silo 17 and how it died, like how they all went out. And we were just never clear about exactly how and what. And we finally get that. So it's very satisfying by the end. But yeah, so they see like her fighting with Solo, so then they're like, okay, I guess they're together. And then they even show them, like the last time we saw Solo before he was attacked, was when Juliet was in the water, and so they see him like distracted because he's doing that rigging. I might have skipped a little part, but like that's basically what we see from their perspective too.
Yep. And so then they cut to when Jules was fixing the pump, and they run up on Solo, and Rick was trying to kill him from like behind without seeing him, but Solo turned at the last minute and started overpowering his ass. And then Rick swung that hatchet, and that's what cut off Jules's oxygen, which is why she had to come up really fast. So I thought that was kind of cool. And then Audrey shot Solo in the back with an arrow, but Rick was like, no, not kill him. Like, he can get us into the silo, like get us into the vault. Like, don't kill him yet. So they carry his ass off. And Audrey is angry as hell. Like, we should have killed that motherfucker. And so Ida tries to suggest an idea with Jules, and she was like, bitch, like, shut the fuck up. Like, we don't want to hear from you. Like, it's your fault anyway, all this shit is happening. And I was like, God damn, like, you treat her like shit.
She said, your job's not to think. And I'm like, what job? What are we talking about? Like, what? She literally is, you're right, like, it's giving, it's just so interesting because it's giving like preemptive, let's kill everybody before they kill us. But it's like, literally, I've never known nobody to not even just be like, hey, identify yourself.
So then they cut to basically the present time, which is where we picked up from last week, where they got Jules cornered. And she was like, he got something I need. That's all I need. And then I'm out of here. And they was like, well, he dead. And she was like, he ain't dead.
No, like, yeah, like you dragged the dead body upstairs for no reason. No.
He's like, yeah, the body would still be laying here. Like, I'm not stupid. And so they told Jules that they would kill Solo if you can't get into the vault. And Rick said that, and Audrey wasn't expecting that. And then she was like, you better get in there by the next time my baby cries. And I was like, what kind of standard is that? The next time your baby cries?
She said, my baby only cries every 6 hours when the Similac runs out. So that's when you die. And I'm just like you said, I can think of few things more volatile than the next time a baby cries. Like, what the fuck? Like, she just wants to kill them, by the way. Like, that's a clear, it's being like, you know what? The next time I'm thirsty, you're dead. The next time I gotta pee, it's over for you. Like, what do you mean?
So then we get True Detective Silo Country with Ida and Jules trying to find out the code for the vault. And Ida's asking a bunch of questions, and she's like, hey, dog, can I go with you? And Jules is like, there's only one suit.
She's basically like, because she's like, I can't lie, like, they don't fuck with me. I actually just wanted, I was just thinking, she just wanted to be like, I just want to know what her name is. Like, she's like, this is my chance to ask the basic questions that nobody will allow me to ask. So she was like, I literally rather die with this stranger than keep being around my bullies.
Yeah, said it's because DJ said it's because they're kids. They don't really have any social skills. It's of knowing Solo, except Solo killed their parents. Yeah, that's why they're acting like that. Although Rick doesn't act like that.
Wait. And then Fisher Protocol said they have no home training. And I agree. Like, I think that these are literally basically like feral kids. That's kind of, it's giving like it's giving Lord of the Flies. Like, they're just doing whatever. So I get it. Like, it's just, I'm all for killing the people and defend the den. What I'm just saying though is she won't even say hello, what your name is, what heart, who goes there, what state your purpose. Like, she doesn't give any of that. She just goes shoot, kill him. And they're like, okay, we just saw the first new human being in 10 years. Like, literally in 10 years, we saw a new human being with a suit on we've never seen before. Let's just see who the fuck she is. And he's like, no, gotta go, can't do it, not with it. Yeah, no, we know, like, DJ Radar, we get it. It's just like, it's a very this is why the tension is so high, is because like all the things we've been waiting for this whole season could be derailed completely if these people were not willing to stand up to this girl who, like, actually, to be real, this is the only human being they know. Like, these 5 people basically only know each other for real right now, and them turning against her to hear them out is like very fortuitous. But anyway, we can keep going.
So Jules either sees Audrey and Rick's parents, or I don't think they're their parents. I think that was Rick's parents. Jules asks,
I think that everybody's parent, basically, like, there's only so many people who stay behind, and those are the people that have died.
Jules asks her if she can read, and she was like, look for anything that says Russell, head of IT. Ida asked if she knew the people who died. Then we find out that Eater's only with them because Audrey's parents took them in, or Rick's parents took her in when her mama died, and then her parents went to try to break into the vault to get food for Eater because she was hungry, and that's how they died. That's why they blame her for their parents dying, which is some kind of wild.
Yeah, it's also like y'all were gonna be hungry eventually one day. Like what? How? I mean, but obviously, again, this is where I'm like, this makes sense in the sense that they don't have any other perspective. Like they know a silo used to exist, and then they know that like they don't have food, and they know how to have sex. They know how to birth babies, I guess.
Man, having a baby in that condition was probably crazy.
It's crazy. Also, not having more babies is crazy because it's like, what did he learn how to pull out? Like, who's teaching him sex ed? Like, how do they not have more situations like that? This could be a way worse and weirder situation, is what I'm trying to say. And then I would be remiss if I didn't mention that there is definitely an Urban Dictionary definition of the word eater, and that is just the funniest thing to me when I think about them calling her eater.
Of course, you would say that. So then they find out Russell had an apartment. They go look at Russell's apartment. And Eater was like, "What y'all eating your silo?" And she was like, "I don't know, whatever's in the calf." And Eater was like, "Have you ever had a rat?" And Jules' face was like, bro. Like,
yeah. She said, "Y'all don't eat rats." That is, but also here's my question. Where did the rats come from? Like, how do rats get generated? Did they bring rats out on the side? Like, did
rats
Noah's
was already
Ark
living down under the ground?
No, but they had to break. Are rats living? You're telling me rats are living like subcutaneous, like close to the Earth's core?
No, but they're not nowhere near the Earth's core.
Hold on.
How far deep do you think the silo goes?
How far
the
deep?
Earth's core.
Okay,
what
they're
are you
not
talking
at the
about?
Earth's core. They're not at the Earth's core, but they are like. First of all, you have to think. I'm a very literal person, and if you show me the Earth and then cut it into a quarter and say the core is right there,
all
I'm like,
the
oh,
cataclysmic
that's
events we've had on Earth, we still got all types of animals that were living way back then.
No, I know,
they
but
find
like,
ways to survive.
Here's what I'm saying, right? So, say if they were just one silo. Say if they took a silo and say they just magically drilled a hole perfectly and slipped it in. Say they built it step by step, whatever. I actually know how they did it. I'm doing this I'm entertaining you. Are you telling me they made sure there were rats in the silo? And if not, how are there rats in the silo?
No, in the ground.
That's what I think. It's like, it's like if there were bees in the silo. It'd be like, how the fuck did bees get here?
Bees don't live underground. Rats do.
Rats don't live 150 feet underground.
They don't have to. They can live 10 feet underground and then get inside the silo and then procreate. And then they live throughout the silo.
But then that means in the middle of that desert, there were rats there.
They're not in the desert.
Are you thinking what I'm saying?
They're not in the desert, though.
They're in something. They're in the area. Okay.
Because we can see the city. When Jules left, there was a city not too far from where they were. When she was walking over the hill, there was a big ass city there.
Okay, we're going to table this. And then when we get all the data on the table, we're going to bring up the rat question again.
Yeah, we'll bring up the rat question.
It's kind of like saying, like, it's like, would there still be herpes? Would herpes regenerate if there's no herpes? If no herpes goes down into the silo when they create the silo, where would herpes come from?
It wouldn't. It wouldn't.
Case closed.
Then
I made my point.
She sees a backpack and realizes there's another suit, but she don't say no shit. She just shuts the fuck up and closes the closet. And then Eater says they were trying to use numbers, and Jules remembers the classroom that had all the numbers on it. She went back in, and Impossible White Woman Jules now is a math wizard and can figure out like where the numbers left off and which ones were in between. And she narrows it down to 6, basically. Eater starts asking Jules, why they got 2 names? Like, what the fuck is John Johnson? What is Johnson? What is that? And Jules was like, yeah, one's the first name, one's the last name. What the hell's wrong with you? And she was like, my mom only gave me 1 name. So I don't know what you mean by last name. And so Eater said, then Jules has a flashback of Solo going off because she looked at the name. And then it kind of came to her, like, what's going on with Jules? And so Jules asked how old she was when the rebellion happened. And Ida was like, dog, I wasn't even alive. What you mean? My mama was a kid when that shit happened. Like, I don't know what the fuck you mean. What about it? And Jules have an epiphany and she says he was just a kid. Tells Ida that was Solo's classroom. She looks at she remembers him saying, which we saw earlier in the season, that he sat next to the girl in the classroom. So she looked at the cubby next to her cubby and was like John Conroy. She realized Russell's last name was Conroy and Jimmy Conroy. She's like, realized Russell's last name was Conroy. Was like, oh shit, Solo's Jimmy Conroy. And so they go back and Jules wants to talk to Solo. He's like, listen, I got it down to 6. We're going to get 3 trials a day. I already used 2. I can't get in. Let me talk to him. And then Ida calms him down by giving him his mom's bracelet. And then we get this scene, which is kind of long, but we'll go through it and stop because I thought it was one of the best scenes of this show.
Shit. Oh, I failed. What? No. No, you didn't. What do you mean?
Not to let anyone in the vault.
Well, I didn't get in. No one's been in the vault.
What are you doing here?
Look, I understand how important it is to protect the vault. I do. I get it. I promise you, if you give me the code.
I won't.
No, please. Just listen. I'll go in. I'll get food. That's all they want. I want to go back to my silo.
No, just you might as well let them come in here and kill me.
No,
now.
just think about it, please.
Right.
Russell chose me to be his shadow.
No.
I'm the only one left to keep the vault safe.
You were never his shadow.
Steve Zahn is acting real hard right here, man. It's good.
I swore an
No.
oath.
But you weren't his shadow. You were his son.
I couldn't even text my co-host, my buddy, my homegirl, my ride or die Chanel, and say, did you see what happened? I couldn't even do it because she already fucking knew. She already goddamn knew.
I didn't know that. By the way, this is not in the book. That part is actually new to me as well.
Okay.
I told you I didn't know who the fuck Solo was.
Mm-hmm. You want me to believe that?
Next time, just do it. Just do it. And I'm serious. I will give you the reaction you deserve no matter what. I'm able. See, here's the problem. This is a side note. I'm able to compartmentalize so bad you wouldn't believe it. I've had conversations with people I don't remember, so I could definitely be surprised by some shit on the show, and I knew it was coming. Just trust that. But no, I think this is like how they worked around, because remember I was telling you, I did tell you like they wrote him differently in the books, and so I was like, who the fuck is this guy? Why is he pretending? Like, I didn't know who he was or where he came from. So actually this was a good twist, and I think it makes sense because they now just validated, like, we were like, either he's really fucking crazy and okay, crazy is the wrong word, that's a slur. He's really scary and dangerous, right? And he's this guy who maybe killed Russell and like took over his place or killed Solo, or it turns out that maybe we find out instead like he just has really took everything very hard, and he is technically the IT shadow. Like technically he is in that sense. He's just not in the sense that like Juliet put it together, was trying to put 2 and 2 together, like who is this bad guy, but instead he's like he's like this de facto IT shadow, and he's taking it very seriously the same way he did his father's death.
Peter Montgomery is acting his ass off right here, man. He acting his ass off.
Bunny, I told you to use the ladder.
I will next time.
She got 2 kids, by the way.
Okay, so that tracks for what I'm thinking. That baby crying.
I'll be right back.
Sorry, what if she literally shot them all up? Like, what if she like perfect?
Listen to what the kid said. Listen to what the kid says.
Are you gonna kill him now?
Oh, the baby crying. You about to go kill him. It's time to go kill him.
I've never seen this before.
I know you don't.
Audrey, wait.
Get out. Hey,
Just-
no, just wait. Fine, stop, please. I have more arrows.
I got enough arrows for all y'all motherfuckers.
Audrey,
See the green arrow.
wait.
You're taking their side?
I want to hear what he has to say. Just put it down.
Okay. Tell us how you killed our parents. What happened?
He asked me to do one thing and I failed.
Well, what do you mean you failed?
They got in, they got the right code and they got in. And I was right there. I was right there and I did nothing. Even after they came in, I didn't wake up.
You were asleep?
I didn't wake up until
It's okay. Until what?
it was very loud.
What was loud?
So fucking stupid. I left the gun by the door.
Did they shoot you while you were asleep? Is that what happened? You can't believe it.
Audrey's like, he's lying. Let me shoot him. He lying.
Rick,
Then what?
he killed our parents.
I didn't want to.
But you did!
They got inside the food vault. So I broke off the inside handle of the door and I shut it and they couldn't get out because it was sealed.
So they ran out of air?
It doesn't matter how he did it. He killed them, and he's lying about them shooting him. Do you have a scar? Yeah, I know you don't want to show them, but they need to know you're telling the truth.
I'm not lying.
Can I just...
Yeah.
This is Jules showing them his bullet wound.
Okay. Are you gonna give us the code or not? Fine. How about this? We'll figure it out eventually ourselves, right? So we don't need him. One less eater.
My name's Jimmy Conroy.
Move.
And you were 12
I said
when the rebellion. You were
move.
12. Stop! Stop, please. Just listen. He was 12.
Jules was like, calm your ass down. God damn it. Do you hear what he's saying? He was a kid.
Okay? When the rebellion happened. 12. He wasn't old enough to be able to be responsible for all of this. You were 12.
Jimmy was a coward. Jimmy hid behind a door. Open the damn door, Jimmy! Well, the sheriff held a gun to his father's head. All he had to do was open the door and he didn't, so...
That shit was fucking sad. Because if you remember from episode 1, when the sheriff was talking to his wife, he says all he had to do was open the door. And then he said, my hand slipped. And she was like, it's not your fault. She's wiping the blood off of him. If you remember that from the very first episode when they did the flashback. So apparently the sheriff didn't mean to kill him, Russell.
It definitely gave my finger slipped, and I should have my finger on the safety until I did that.
And he was like, all he had to do was open the door. And then now we see that from the other perspective, which I thought was so great.
Does that sound like the son of a hero to you? Russell would have been ashamed to have a son like that.
No, you're wrong. He would have been so proud because you did what he asked you to do. Don't open the door. Don't let anyone in. That's what he said to you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know why he said that?
Because he wanted to save them all. Because he wanted to save the asylum.
No, Jimmy. He wanted to save you. He wanted you to live. Come, just like...
Rebecca Ferguson's accent went completely out the window in this scene, but it's fine.
Their parents wanted them to live. That's why your father was protecting you. Just like they want their child to live, okay?
They have a kid.
They have a baby.
A baby. It's okay.
Rick,
It's okay.
I have to do it.
It's okay.
I thought that was a great scene. Fantastic scene in this show. So then we'll finish this up with, he lets him in the vault. I was like, this vault's definitely lived in. This don't look like Bernard vault. Like, he got shit all over the fucking place.
I know it's stinking there.
This room got so many human artifacts, like from all over the world, it looks like just artifacts from all over the place from human history, which is interesting and cool. They even got chemistry shit in there. Rick plays a tangerine and he shows him how to play the tambourine, shows him how to play the drums. Solo's starting to learn how to be around people. And then I was like, Solo was doing science experiments. He was building shit. He's reading everything in human history. He might be the smartest man on earth. Like, he knows, I bet you he knows more than Bernard.
Absolutely.
Because I don't think Bernard has went in there and read all that shit. Solo's read all that shit.
Well, right. And then he also and then he also was the one who, like, when Juliet first came, he's like, how do you not know what quantum physics are? You don't know who Aristotle is? What the fuck? Like, he's like you said, he's kind of just, he's had that time to sit there. It's basically like he was in jail and he got really ripped because he just had, all he's had is time to lift weights.
So then he was like, y'all want to hear some music? I think it's better than ice cream. And they don't know what the fuck music is. He was like, you don't know what music is? So Chanel, if you had to play a song for someone who had no idea what music is, this is the first song they ever heard, what song would you play?
Okay. I have a white people answer. I have a black people answer. So, and also this reminds me of a TikTok, RIP TikTok, that was, it was this guy who didn't know what music was. And so he'd be like, I love this. And I'd be like, there's nothing playing. He'd be like, oh, okay. If I find out, I would send it to you. It's like a guy discovering music. It's very funny. The white answer is I would play the song Music by Madonna, because the lyrics are literally music, makes the people come together. Yeah. And it's just like a disco track that I really like. And it was an album me and my mom used to bump. On the other end of, I would play literally Frankie Beverly and Maze and I'd be like, this is music. Like, I would be like, this is the epitome. And like, if you think I'm pulling out classical or Elvis, you're crazy. You just haven't thought this answer through for me. What about you? You pulling out your mixtape, your tape that are you pulling out your 8 track that you made when you were a kid and you were rapping you were trying to be on Death Row Records? Remember that tape you made?
I'm playing Bohemian Rhapsody by Queen. And then I'm playing.
But they talk on that. Half of that is spoken. That's confusing.
Right. And then I'm playing. That's confusing. And then I'm playing Superstitious by Stevie Wonder. Those are my 2.
Actually, okay, I would play Frankie Beverly and Mason, but like, hold on, I got more. And then I would start playing Beyonce.
Then they would leave out the room.
Excuse me?
That's right. They leave out the room.
You've taken that this is one joke you took way too far.
They're leaving out the room.
We don't do Beyonce slander. And I think you know that. I think you know better.
Well, Solo chose Monster Mash. Is what he chose. And he gave Jules her suit back. He had it stored somewhere. And Jules was like, it's not the only suit, is it, Solo? And he was like, nah, the head of IT has a suit in case they got to get outside. And he was like, so you
and I bet you the tape and the wool on that bitch is supreme. I bet you that is Balenciaga brand tape and wool.
And he said, if you had a suit the whole time, why you ain't leave? And that's when we know Jules had a soft spot for old Solo. She had a soft spot for old Solo. And Solo realizes it and puts his hand on the shoulder. And I almost cried. I was like, look at this. Look at him. And that was the end of that. So, Chanel, what are you looking forward to in the season finale?
Sorry, I got distracted by a comment.
Yes, you see the comment, don't you?
So much better. So much
That's right.
much better. You with 3 O's?
That's right.
Bohemian Rhapsody, the first half is spoken word. That's confusing to someone who's never heard music before. They're gonna say, "Oh, it's talking, it's fast talking, it's a poem," and then they're gonna say, "Oh, there's something else happening." Just start a song that's actually music.
Sounds like the answer someone who can't rent a car would say.
My first answer, okay, I am in my 30s. My first answer is a song that explains what music is. It literally defines music in the song called Music. So that is crazy. I want everyone to, like, as homework, I want you to go listen to Music by Madonna, the song called Music. And then I also want you to listen to a Frankie Beverly and Maze song and tell me if that's not beautiful music. I mean, Stevie's up there with that, like, obviously. But what are we... I mean, I didn't say Eminem. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't a crazy answer. Anyway, I don't take criticism well. Okay, so it was not okay. So anyway, I'm looking forward to let's wrap this shit up. Or what's happening in the vault? What is the Allen Iverson in the tunnel gonna do? Like, what is are they gonna keep fighting?
Allen
or
Iverson
is the
is
whole
the
side
answer,
gonna go?
not the algorithm.
You're right. And he's not in the league, but he is alive.
Yes. He's still
Get
alive,
it?
yes.
Okay, so like, is the whole silo going to go to war? Like I said before, like, there are a bunch of in another episode, there's a bunch of characters in this story now that are not in the book. So I don't know how they're going to impact the wrapping up of this story, but I do have a feeling that there will be a very similar plot point coming. So I'll wait for that and tell you if I see it. And it is good. It's going to get good. So I think I'm looking forward to seeing how they wrap it up. If they give us any information about that 51st silo, which, by the way, tell me again what you said your theory was on the 51st silo.
I think the 51st silo is AI run. And
okay.
They're over. It's
but
like
you think
it's like a command center that's overseeing all the other silos.
Okay. So I do wonder if we get more input there. And then I will say that I did put some guesses out there before I read the book, and all my guesses still stand if I'm right, because I did have some guesses before I knew it was going to happen. So we'll see if any of those come true. And Juliet needs to get the fuck about this silo and get home. Like, that just has to happen. So I'm like, some kind of way I'm gonna need her to wrap this up, because the whole last 5 episodes have been, I'm trying to leave a silo, let me go do a side quest. I'm trying to leave a silo, let me go. So like, if they don't get her out of the silo, I'm gonna have blue balls, basically. Like, I'm just like, we just have to get out of this silo. Even if she takes a step and dies, I need her to leave silo 17. And then yeah, I'm kind of like, Silo is a darker show. Silo is dark on my TV, similar to how Game of Thrones used to be. So I am looking forward to like having brighter shows like Severance that we're going to be watching, and just like a different feel. So the 51st silo is DC, potentially from
That's
Fisher.
Good. That's good. 51st silo is DC.
He means like Washington DC, or you mean like DC?
Like the 51st state.
Oh.
Chanel didn't get it. It's okay, Fisher. I got you.
I think he's literally saying the 51st silo is being headed, like the president is in charge of the silo, maybe.
No,
I think he's being literal.
Like the 51st state.
First of all, the 51st state should be Puerto Rico. Okay, so I'm looking forward to all those things. What about you?
I think Eater's gonna go with Jules to the new silo, because they got 2 suits now. And
but also, what are they gonna do? They're gonna be like, hey, new random person, I guess we'll give you a job. Like, that's so, like, putting her in the transfer portal is crazy.
That's right. She got to go to a new school. And I want to know more about this algorithm. So I want to know what they're going to find out. I expect that the majority of the episode is going to be in 18. Like, the overwhelming majority of the episode is going to be in 18. And then we're going to see Jules show up in the last 15 to 20 minutes, and something's going to happen. So that's what I'm expecting.
It's going to be like, yeah, it's going to be like when the prodigal daughter comes home on Christmas and no one thought they were coming. And that's how the episode's going to end, with like everyone being so happy to see Jules. I feel like that's what's going to happen. By the way, I just want to say, just to take the metaphor a little bit further, Eater definitely is the red shirt in her team. Like, no, they don't want to use her. Her grades are just okay. So she really does deserve to go to a team that will start her. So you know what? I do. Let's have her go to 18 and see what they do. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yes. So thank you all for listening, and thank you for everybody watching in the chat. We appreciate all the comments and all the support. Remember, if you listen to us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, give us a 5-star review, and we'll read it on the show. You can watch us on YouTube, like all the chatters, commenters did today, at youtube.com/@WeWasWatching. Subscribe and like, and you hit the notification bell. It'll let you know when we're going live. You can email the show at wewaswatchingpodcast@gmail.com.
And I did officially set it up where if you have the old email, it'll forward to the new email. So don't worry, but we will start using that email moving forward.
And you can follow us on Twitter and Blue Sky at WeWasWatching. We'll be back later this week. Check your feed for a Severance Season 1 recap. And then we'll be back next week for the season finale of Silo and episode 1 of Severance. So we have a lot coming up. This will be the most Chanel's ever recorded in the 7-8 day period. But then we'll get back to our normal thing after that.
Yeah, let's hope it works out. Also, thank you to everyone who's in the chat live with us today. Fisher Protocol, DJ Rated R, Human Hope. Love to see you every week. John Domboli. And if I missed anyone else, it is not intentional. The last comments were, thank you to you guys for commenting and being here. So Fisher Protocol said her showing up to Silo 18 is going to be like the last shot, like the game-winning buzzer at the very end instead of the Thanksgiving metaphor. We love that. Thank you for letting me try out to practicing talking about sports. This has been so much fun. Thanks, Brandon. And we will see you guys, like you said, next week with some new stuff.
All right. Talk to y'all later. Peace.
Bye.